Hello guys, welcome to the channel. Today I'm giving you the villains tier list, and not much to say, but I think just go check out the channel, the Glass Onion review, and heroes tier list, and I'm only filming in the basement because I don't feel like going upstairs. So let's get started because it's gonna be a long video. I think we could just kick this one right off. We're gonna start with the Abomination, Emu Blotsky. I think I'm gonna put him in the. Actually, I'm just gonna put him in the okay tier. I like what they did with him in She-Hulk, sort of made him more of a hero, but at the same time, like. He's just kind of a forgettable villain. I kind of like what they did with him in Incredible Hulk. I like the boss fight itself, but overall, not a big fan. Next up, we have Aldrich Killian. I've never really liked this villain. He's probably my least favorite part of Iron Man 3, that and the Mandarin twist. Those are kind of what hold Iron Man 3 back to be like a bit higher, I would say, on my MC ranking. But still, I mean, he's fine. I think Guy Pearce does a fine enough job, and I think the effects look pretty good, but it's just, come on, like, it's literally the same plot line as Riddler and Batman Forever, and I think this villain might be even worse, because at least Jim Carrey's fun. Next one's going to be Agatha Harkness from WandaVision. As much as I like Catherine Hahn in the role, I think the character, I just don't know if it, like, I don't know if she just really worked. Like, I mean, she's fine for what she is, but I think, as I said, Catherine Hahn does a good job in the role, but not much more than that. Next one is going to be Alexander Pierce. I think, a great villain. I messed this up a bit during the last one, so there you go. I think he's one of the better villains in the MCU. I've always liked him from Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Robert Redford does a great job. And his whole thing where he wants to make a better world or make a better country is pretty interesting. And I like how he's kind of taking over him, and it's like another Hydra associate kind of taking over S.H.I.E.L.D. in the background. And overall, I like this villain. I mean, he's not the most perfect villain because he's not really like a physical presence to a hero, but he doesn't really have to be. Next one's gonna be Ronan the Accuser. Meh. I don't think he's as bad as everyone says he is because he has clear motivations. I think he has a good enough rivalry with our heroes, and I think he's a perfectly meh villain. Like, he doesn't really do anything that really does anything wrong, at least for me, but he doesn't really do anything that's like absolutely amazing. So like, he's just kind of an villain. He just doesn't do much for me. But overall, I don't think he's horrible. Next one's going to be Ultron. I've always loved Ultron. I think James Spader's great in the role. I don't think he's an awesome villain, but I'm going to put him in the great tier because the one thing is that I think they kind of rushed a few things with him with the whole turning into or creation of Ultron, and I just wish they had like slowed that out or moved that a bit slower than they actually did. So, yeah. Next one is going to be the Supreme Intelligence. I don't really care for this villain, Captain Marvel. They just underdevelop her or whatever, because it's not really like the character doesn't really have much personality, not given much information, and this is like supposedly like a big thing, and that's kind of explaining Captain Marvel, but then they don't do anything with that, so ends up being just a bad villain. Surtur, I like the idea, but they don't really do enough with him because, I mean, he's just like a big evil monster that wants to destroy Ragnarok, and that's about it. Now I have Ebony Maw, one of the children of Thanos. I actually quite like this guy, so I'm putting him in the good tier. I don't know if he's any better. He's definitely not any better than that, but overall, I like what they did with him. He has like these force powers. He looks kind of like Voldemort, and he also sounds like Voldemort. So, and I think because of those force powers, it just makes him a bit more interesting than the other children of Thanos. Airsham. Just a disappointment overall. I think they could have done a bunch of great things, and I think it's definitely one of the better parts of the Eternals, as he wants to use Earth to build out the Celestials and sort of how all of that ties into the blimp. That's interesting, but he's only this low because it's pretty much the movie we got, and that's about it. Now we have Hawkeye. You might be asking, why is Hawkeye on this list? And because technically he was a little bit of a villain during Endgame, and sort of explained. We don't really get enough of that, but I was debating whether to include him. I was like, I just thought I would like talk about him, because as like a villain in Endgame, as you see him go on, it's a little bit of a stretch to really think that he would be starting to kill all these people. I mean, you sort of understand it, but it's a little bit of a stretch, but I think he does I like what they're trying to do. Now we have Sylvester Stallone, or this guy from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I'm just putting him in this. I just put him here just because I just wanted to talk out a bunch of a disappointment. When you have Sylvester Stallone in the MCU, you should do much better. I'll leave it at that. John Walker from Captain America, or Falcon Winter Soldier. There's a bunch of people there from both lists. Hawkeye's one of them. I actually quite liked him. I think he's one of the better parts of Falcon the Winter Soldier as this guy that sort of has been on a mission after mission after mission, awarded with a bunch of gold medals or whatever, and then given the Captain America powers. You see how that sort of goes down, and overall, I actually quite like that. Next one is going to be Mysterio. I want to put him in the awesome tier, but the movie itself, I think, has a lot of issues. So I just kind of can't. And overall, I think Jake Gyllenhaal is fantastic in the role. I love the powers. The effects are really cool, though. All the really cool Mysterio sequences are obviously awesome. But I just don't think that the movie really served the character so well because the plot it just strains too much credibility, and honestly, I just don't care for that. Next up, we got Arnim Zola. I'm gonna put him in the okay tier. I kind of like what they're trying to do with him, where you see him in Captain America: The First Avenger as this henchman to the Red Skull, and then as he sort of goes on in Captain America: The Winter Soldier, they brought dead characters alive, but whatever. But I kind of like that. I like how they kind of tie him in, especially when they use What If. They had to use him in What If to tie in his algorithm into destroying Ultron. I thought that was really cool. So yeah, I think because of that, I think I put this villain a little bit higher. Now we have Ethan Hawke from Moon Knight. Such a disappointment. I think he was fine enough in the role. He was okay. But the character, they just didn't do enough with him. They gave him such an unceremonious death, and just, no, I don't think they did much. Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross. I'm going to put him in the okay tier. I think, does a good job. I can't think of his name. I can't think of the actor's name. I think he does a good job, but I think the problem is that I think they've only kind of showed it this side of the character, and I wish they gave this character a little bit more depth. But overall, I think Thunderbolt Ross is a good villain. Now we have, finally, an awesome villain, or goated villain. I think Zhu Wenwu from Shang-Chi, I think, is one of the best villains we've gotten in the MCU. And overall, they just handled this villain so well. It gave him a ton of backstory, and see how he's not just this evil parasite, sort of. You see that he actually changed through marriage, and you see how his life got changed, and then it got ruined again. So I think just such a well-done villain. He's probably my favorite part of Shang-Chi. Now we have the Mandarin fake one, Trevor. Trash. It kind of ruined Iron Man 3. I don't hate it as much as other people, but the villain itself just sucks. Like, nothing really there. Now we have the He Who Remains. I like the idea, and that alone I think puts him in the okay tier. I think the character was kind of fun and all, but I mean, you can't really put him that much higher because they didn't really do enough with him. He was just kind of a twist reveal in the last episode, and he works just fine as that. So yeah, I do actually quite enjoy this villain. I think he works for what it is, but yeah, it's just not much there, so I can't really put him much higher. Next up is gonna be Thanos. You know where Thanos is going, the goated tier. I think Thanos is a fantastic villain, probably the best one of the MCU, and they just gave him so much depth, so much to do, and he's not just this evil thing that we have to defeat. He's also this big presence, and he actually has a backstory, and he actually has motivation and sympathy, sort of. So I don't know about sympathy, but even though he's this madman, he actually still has depth to him. So, and because they did that, they did really well. Now we have what's her name? Aisha, putting her right in the trash tier. I like the idea in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 as someone that they were trying to work for and then got paid and then stole something. Part of it kind of works, but then the characters just don't work. The sovereigns themselves, they look like they're just playing video games with the ships, and it just doesn't work. I just don't like it. Taskmaster, what a disappointment. I'm not going to put in the trash because I still think it's kind of, the reveal itself and the twist is kind of cool, but just such a disappointment. They could have done so much with this character with the type of powers that it has, and they just didn't, and it just was disappointing because he was just made out to be a glorified henchman, sort of. And for what that is, it just doesn't work. I wish they give this character more to do. Bucky, the Winter Soldier. I'm going to put him in the good tier. As a villain, I think you know what, because of the depth, I'm going to put him in the grit. I kind of want to put him in the awesome tier. I don't know if I will, though. Because I love what they did with this character, and when he was a villain, as someone that got controlled by Hydra and ended up killing all these people, I think for what it is, it works very well, and I've always loved what they did with this character as in Captain America: The Winter Soldier, and then as they go on, and he's still like not perfect as you get to Civil War, and then even in Falcon and Winter Soldier, he's a couple of moments here and there where like he bursts out. So I think this character was done really well as on the villain side, and even better on the hero side. Jeff Goldblum, or the Grandmaster, I love this guy. He's going in the great tier. He's so fun. He's funny when he needs to be, and overall, just the perfect character to kind of just throw into Thor Ragnarok. Not much more needed to be said. Loki, going right in the GOAT tier. I think Loki's one of the best parts of the entire MCU, and I think he's a fantastic villain right off the bat. And they've really given this guy a lot of depth, especially when you get to Thor: The Dark World, and then Thor Ragnarok, and then you get to his own TV show. And I think they're just doing great stuff with this character as a villain and a hero. Now we have this person from Loki's show. I wanted to, yeah. So I'm gonna put her in the meh tier. I mean, the character is not that interesting, but but I mean, at the same time, it is because she realizes that the TVA has kind of become her life and the mistakes she's made and everything. So I think in the end, actually, it's a pretty interesting character. Icarus, the only other Eternal I'm including, they could have done a bit more, but I'm gonna put him in the meh tier because, I mean, they sort of did what they needed to, made him sort of a villain, but it's just a little odd that he kind of switches very quickly and just, I don't know. It just doesn't work fully. Next one, another one in the, we have the Collector. I feel like they could have done a little bit more with this character, but I think Benicio del Toro was good in the role, but I wish they did a little bit more throughout the Guardians of the Galaxy and Infinity War, but for what it is, he's alright. Next up is going to be Corvus Clave. I know who this guy is, but yeah, it's just gonna go in the trash tier. A lot of the other children of Thanos aren't as interesting as Ebony Maw, but here he's just a warrior trying to destroy Vision pretty much the entire movie. Walton Goggins, Sonny Burge, I'm gonna put in the meh. Walton Goggins is perfectly good, fine in the role, but the character's just another arm stealer and just another generic one at that. So can't really put him much higher, but I think he works in the movie. Now we have this is one of the shockers. I want to see if I can find. I don't know if the other one's on here. Doesn't look like it. There are two shockers given in Spider-Man: Homecoming, and both are bad. Both could have been given a lot more depth. And yeah, I mean he's fine, but whatever. J. Jonah Jameson, I like this. I included this one because, well, he kind of is a villain in No Way Home. I'm gonna put him in the good tier. I think J.K. Simmons is great in this role. He's been great since Spider-Man. I'm not really been including him from like the Tobey Maguire ones. Just specifically No Way Home. I like what they did with him as sort of the one that kind of brings it upon Spider-Man. I like his sort of inclusion there. So yeah, I actually really like this one. Wanda as a villain, I think really works. So I'm gonna put her in the awesome tier. I love what they did with her in Multiverse of Madness. She was one of the best parts, and overall, I like what they did with her throughout the MCU. She was never really like a full-on hero, except maybe that scene in Endgame, because she was always had a lot of mental trauma, and that always kind of took her over more so. So you really see that play on her show in Multiverse. I would have put her maybe in like GOAT tier or maybe higher in the awesome tier if they just made things better in WandaVision or if they fixed a few things. But for now, I think she is still an awesome villain. Whiplash, come on. They give Mickey Rourke and then make him do a Russian accent that is just a recipe for failure. And they could have done a lot more with this character, but it's still kind of just another one of those plot lines where you have he is scoring for Tony Stark, and this is definitely one of the weaker versions of that. Now we have, what's it called? Crow. I know this is the guy from, that is. He looks cool, but he isn't cool. So overall, this character, I just don't think they did enough here. And overall, the problem is that he, I don't know, just turned into another revenge plotline, and they could have done some interesting stuff with the Deviants, but I don't know, it's just frustrating. I don't want to talk about Eternals anymore. Next up, we got the Yellow Jacket. He's fine. He works for what it is, but kind of another Obadiah Stane remake, sort of. And that's just not that interesting. Now we have Malekith going in the trash tier. I don't like Malekith. He is he has no actual trait or character personality trait or whatever. He's just a threat there trying to destroy Thor, and he wants the ether. That's all we know. That literally is all we know. And yeah. Next one is going to be Carly Morgenthau from Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Also going in the trash tier. I think they had potential, but they just wasted it, and she became probably my least favorite part of the show, and she just got worse and worse as the show went on. So, very frustrating villain, and they wish they did more. Next one is gonna be Taserface. He's gonna go in the okay tier. Wait, what is she doing here? Taserface is gonna go in the okay tier. I like this guy. He's so fun because of how stupid he actually is, and he's made so many. There's so many jokes made out of him, and kind of as the villain of the middle act of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, I think he works well enough in this role. But to be honest, I mean, did they really need to do very much? So yeah. Um, Whatever. I don't know. I can't really put him any higher, but he's fine. Obadiah Stane, I'm gonna put him right in the good tier. I'm putting in the great tier. As this kind of character that sort of sparked Tony's sort of origin story and sort of as the villain in the first Iron Man. I think he works. He works so much better when he's not in the suit. Once he's in the suit, I just don't think he works quite as well, and that kind of diminishes. So I'm still putting him in the great tier because of what it kind of did for Tony's and what it kind of set up for the rest of the MCU. Now we have Mordo from Doctor Strange, and I'm also going to kind of include him from Multiverse of Madness. He's going to go in the okay tier. I kind of like his little arc, but I mean, it's not really an arc, but I like his little plot line there. But overall, there's not much really you could do that much with this villain, or this guy, so yeah. Now we have Cull Obsidian, another one that's going to go in the trash tier. Another one of Thanos' children, not very interesting, so yeah. Crossbones, I think he's going to go in the good tier. I like his little thing with Captain America in both Winter Soldier and the beginning of Civil War. So I like what they did here. And overall, I think he's a perfectly fine villain. Nice little guy to throw in there. Dreykov from Black Widow, I'm going to put him in the okay tier. I wish maybe they gave him a motivation. If they did, he would have been higher. And overall, I think he is a perfectly okay villain. Next one is going to be Kurt Russell or Ego. I kind of started to come around to Ego a bit more as time has gone on. I used to really not care for Ego, but as time has gone on, I've quite liked him. I think Kurt Russell's pretty good in the role. I wish they did more with him, but I think he's barely in the good tier, to be honest, but still, I think he's perfectly fine. I like his little motivation when he wants to take over the world and introduces us to Celestials and kind of throws that plot line in there, so I like that element of it, but not that great. Not great. Killmonger going right in the awesome tier. I don't know if he's quite goated because I think he's a little overrated. People overrate him, I think, a little bit. I don't think he's like the most perfect villain out there. But like for overall, I think they did a lot of great stuff with him. I love his motivation where it's kind of a little classic revenge motivation, but for what it is, I think it really works in Black Panther. His rivalry with T'Challa really works, and overall, just a very, I think, well-handled character. So yeah, he's going right in the great tier, I think. Next one is gonna be Red Skull. I think is also a great villain for Captain America, and overall, I think another very well handled character. So, yeah, overall, yep, I think he's going right there in the great tier. Even though he's a bit of an exposition giver, whatever, but for what he is, I think he actually is a pretty good villain. I think he looks cool. I think he's a good physical threat for Captain America, and yeah. I think I like his plan, so I think he's good. Ghost, and then the meth tier. I think she's perfectly fine, I guess, as sort of a villain against Scott and sort of having these problems with these phasing issues or whatever, and she wants to get fixed by Bill Foster, which is Lawrence Fishburne. And I think I like that motivation, but they couldn't really do much with her in Ant-Man and the Wasp because they also had to focus on the cat and mouse game sort of thing at the end. But I like what they did with this character for the most part, and I think she's perfectly fine. Next one is going to be Laufey, another, I think he's kind of bad. I think he looks kind of cool, but he had no motivation, just kind of a big frost giant there, leading to a few boss fights here and there. So, not much. Jude Law, we have, Jan Roga, and that's this guy's name. I'm going to put the math here. Jude Law's pretty good in this role, actually, but the character is just kind of there. He doesn't really do that much throughout the movie, so can't really put him much higher. Now we have Zemo. We're going right in the great tier. The awesome tier. Civil War has become one of my favorite MCU movies as time has gone on, and to be honest, part of that is Zemo because I like his motivation. I think Daniel Bruhl is great in the role, and overall, I think this character has just become just one of my favorites in the MCU. I think this is a great villain. Next one's gonna be Justin Hammer. Sam Rockwell's so fun in the role, and that's what just makes me put in the good tier. The character itself is kind of an idiot, but that's what's fun about it. So there you go. Next one is going to be this guy. I forgot his name. Gore from Thor, Love and Thunder. Just such a disappointment. I'm going to put him in the okay tier because I still think Christian Bale is still good in the role. So, yeah, they could have done so much more with this character, but they just didn't. It was just disappointing. So, He's just okay. He's not terrible, but yeah. Next one is gonna be Kingpin. I'm gonna put him in the okay tier. I'm gonna put him in the meh tier. For if I include Daredevil, he's going right to the Yoda tier. Except in season 1 of Daredevil, he's amazing, which I need to finish the show. But just based on Hawkeye, I think he doesn't really work as well as a twist villain. I think a couple more episodes would have done better. Maybe even just one more, I think would have been nice. But for what have we got, I think he poses a good physical threat. And I hope they do more with him in the Echo show. But for right now, not that interesting. But I think the actors do a pretty good job. So yeah. Next one is gonna be Korath the Pursuer. I like this guy because he's just so fun in Guardians of the Galaxy, where he is completely like going against Drax and having this little rivalry not Thor, Star Lord. Because of that, he's just become such a fun character, and yeah, I enjoy this guy. Ulysses Claw, I really like this guy from Black Panther and Age of Ultron. I think Andy Serkis is so fun in this role, and just that alone makes me put him in the good tier. So, just a very fun character and very lively personality, and kind of adds a lot to Black Panther. So, yeah, I like this guy. Next one is gonna be another child of Thanos. I think she's a little bit better than the other two because I think she actually talks. So there you go. So I don't know any of their names. So yeah. Vulture, I'm gonna go right in the awesome tier. I think what's it called is amazing in the role. What is his name? Michael Keaton is fantastic in the role. So, and overall, because of that, I really do like this villain. Yeah. Next one is gonna be you have Caecilius. He's meh. I think his motivation is perfectly fine, but I think when you get Mads Mikkelsen, you should do a lot better. And just disappointment. Now we have Razor Fist. I think kind of a fun novelty to throw into Shang-Chi, so he's gonna go in the mech tier. I think it's perfectly fine. It's kind of just got to throw in there, but overall, not much really there. He's just kind of another henchman. And we have the Doctor Strange, Supreme Strange from Multiverse of Madness. This is the other one. And overall, I kind of enjoyed what they did with her, the little musical notes fight and whatever. But not a character that I think is like fantastic, but I think it's just alright. And where's Namor from Black Panther? That's the only one I'm looking for. Yeah. Oh, I don't know when this tier list was made. So, anyway, I don't know where Namor is, from Black Panther, but he would be going to go in the great tier. So, yeah. Also, the person from Miss Marvel, kind of bad. And then, She-Hulk person, also trash. And then, all the She-Hulk villains are going in the trash tier. And then, the person from Shang-Chi, I don't know. So, there's a couple things missing from here, specifically Namor, but I can just make it work. So in last place, the worst villain for me is probably I'm going to throw in the Thanos children. These two, I think he's a little bit better. I think these two are the worst villains, honestly. They just don't do anything with them. And then next one is going to be, I mean, they're kind of creepy themselves, but like, you know what, because of that, yeah. Malekith is just a disappointing villain, that's why he's just going to go at the bottom. Then probably the Shocker, then the children of Thanos, then Aisha, then Trevor Slattery, Supreme Intelligence. I think that's fine, I guess. Next up is probably going to be, I think probably Sylvester Stallone's Disappointment. Laufey probably is next. Then the other child of Thanos. Then Whiplash. Then Crow. And then Taskmaster. Taskmaster. Then Whiplash. Then Arthur, whatever his name is. And then Surtur, and then Killian. Killian, I'm going to throw in the mech tier. Killian, I think Razor Fist is probably I would put next. Then probably, yeah. Then Kingpin. I like Caecilius more than Kingpin. They give him more to do. Then I think Ghost might be the highest of all of these. Airsham. Yeah, that looks fine. I'd put him higher. Next one, the okay tier is gonna be I think probably Mordo's the worst. And he doesn't really do much, but I think he's kind of a fun presence. Evil Strange. There you go. Then probably Taserface is next. Then, I like the novelty of it, having a Ronin kind of character in Hawkeye and Endgame, but I can't really put him higher. He remains is probably the highest, and then probably Agatha, then Zola, then Abomination, then probably Thunderbolt, I don't know. Collector can kind of be just placed around there, so it doesn't really matter. That's the okay tier. Then probably next is Ebony Maw, then probably Ego, then Crossbones, then John Walker, then J. Jonah Jameson, and then Justin Hammer, and then Ulysses Claw. Then the gray tier, we have, I think the weakest one in the gray tier is probably, I hate to say it, but probably Mysterio. No, Red Skull's probably, no, Red Skull. Then Mysterio, then Obadiah Stane, then Grandmaster, putting probably way too high, but I don't know, I love Jeff Goldblum. Then Ultra, Alexander Pierce is probably the highest. That looks fine. Awesome tier, Wanda, Zemo, yep, and then go to tier, Wenwu. There you go. So that is my tier list ranking. I am gonna fix up the heroes tier list. I am gonna do it in another video because there's just so many mess ups in the video. So many people coming in. I don't really want to edit that video. So yeah, and also Neymar would probably be placed somewhere probably right here in between Mysterio and Obadiah Stane, and then Shang-Chi. Yeah, I think that's about it. So I don't know why. I mean, this was probably a tier list done before. So yeah, overall, I enjoyed making this video enough, I guess. So yeah. All right, so that'll about do it for this tier list. I think I might end up redoing my heroes tier list. There were just so many mess ups and edit-ins, but if I want to actually edit those out, I'll do it. But I don't know. I'll look through the footage and maybe we'll see what happens. But if I end up redoing it, I'll probably do it. It'll get uploaded later, so the villains one will be coming first for sure. So I know I said some stuff in the beginning of the video, but I kind of thought about it and realized, oh wait, there's so many mess ups. I literally left the room to go help my dad with something for like 2 seconds. So I don't know. I think I might end up redoing that, but I don't know. I'll let you know in the community tabs if I do. So if I do end up redoing it, it's probably gonna come a bit later. But we got this video for the rest of the year. We have TV shows, MCU TV shows ranked. Best movies of the year ranked, and then maybe comic book movies. Maybe I might do top 5 comic book movies of the decade so far. So instead of the best ones of the year, because this year, I mean, there wasn't that good of a year for comic book movies. There were only like 3 really good ones, I would say. So compared to last year, which had like 4 really good ones. Well, let's see. Not multiverse. No Way Home, Snyder Cut, then Suicide Squad, and Shang-Chi. Black Widow. There's a much better ones in 2021. So, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, that does it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment down below. And see you guys next time. Adios.